Alright, so what you will need is your fabric, your lining, your art stay, your stay, then your lining. So for that stay you can use a gum stay, normal add gum stay, or you can also use a collar stay. Then you will need your scissors and every other thing. So let's go to the tutorial straight right now. So now this is what you will first to do. So you take your ruler, you place it in a slant form. It can be like 3 inches. So you place it in a slant form like this. So you rule it. So you rule a kind of slant line, from one top. Then you make it slant. So after which you take your measuring tape. So you measure like 11 inches. Measure like 11 inches depending on how tall you want the cap to be. So you can see this is 11 inches. So you mark your 11 inches from one side, then you come down, you also measure another 11 inches. So to make a kind of slant form again, so you measure 11 inches, then you rule it in that slant form. So can you see now? So you rule it in that slant form, then you do the cutting. So you cut it out. I hope you can see. So you cut it out in a slant form like that. So on the other hand, you also cut it out. Then that you take the first pieces and place it on the remaining fabric. You also use that one to also cut it out. So you are going to cut out like 4 pieces of that. So we already cut out 4 pieces of that slant something. Can you see now? So we have like 4 pieces of it. This is the third one. So we are going to cut one more. So that's 4. So can you see now? So it's now in a kind of slant form instead of straight pattern that we have. Now we have the slant pattern. And let me also tell you, the edge circumference of the cap that I want to make is 22 inches. The edge circumference is 22 inches. So the next thing is that we are going to cut our stay. So this is like 3.5, but depending on how tall you want the cap to be, so 3.5. I'm using 3.5 inches here. Can you see? So I'm marking it out at 3.5 inches. I'm marking out it out at 3.5 inches. Don't forget the edge circumference, like I've said, is 22 inches. So now we have, so this the ending part of it. So 3.5. Don't forget, I'm chalking out. I'm marking 3.5. So if you look at the length of this thing now, is like 24 inches, plus sewing allowance. So you can see I've marked out 3. The height is 3.5, and then the length is around 24 inches. Don't forget the edge circumference is 22 inches plus 2 inches sewing allowance. So I will be cutting it out now. You can see I've cut out the uh, art stay. So instead of this art stay, you can also use a collar stay, a soft collar stay. Remember, a soft collar stay. So you don't have art stay, you can use a soft collar stay. So now we are on the machine now. So I will be joining the 4 pieces of fabrics that I have cut out. So I will be joining them. I will be joining them together. Watch how I join them. So you take one edge, so you sew it together. So you can see I'm joining it together now. So you take one edge, so you join them together like the way I've shown it on the table the other time. So you take one edge, you join them together, then you top stitch. So you can see the way I join it together. So you also top stitch it. So you top stitch like this. So can you see? So you top stitch it like this. So you can you see the way I join the two together. So you make sure that you watch the one under. So you top stitch. So you have to make sure that you are careful while top stitching. So I've joined the two together. So now I've joined the four together now. So I've joined the four together. So you take one edge, so the two end of what you after joining the four together. So the two end, the first end and the other end. So you bring them together, you align them together as well. Okay, and you see, so you align the two ends together like this. So you align the two ends together like this, then you carefully stitch them together. So you carefully stitch them together. So you carefully stitch them together. So it's going to form a kind of round stuff. So you carefully stitch them together. So you stitch them together like this. So you have to be careful joining them together. Kindly so you excuse me. So you join them together like this. So please, in case you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly do so that anytime I drop a video, you can be notified. Kindly subscribe. So I've joined the two together now. So can you see now? So after joining them together, I cut it open like this. Can you see? So I cut it open. Then next thing is that we'll be measuring 1 inch. From the down here, you measure 1 inch. So you measure 1 inch and then you place your stay. You give it a space of 1 inch. As you can see, the length is 24 inches. So depending on the edge circumference, so some can be 23 in edge circumference, but this one is 22. Then with 2 inches sewing allowance, so I cut out at 24 inches. Then you give a space of 1 inch from the down part. You give a space of 1 inch from the down part. You can see you measure 1 inch. You can see 1 inch, a space of 1 inch from one end to the other. Sorry. So then you do what? You press it open. Can you see? I've high on it. So the inches is 20. So it's 24 inches. Can you see? It's 24 inches to the other hand. So it's 24 inches to the other end. Then you just cut out the excess here. So we have excesses here. So you cut out the excesses here. So I've already pressed it. I've high on it. I've pressed the stick. Then the 1 inches that you have, then so you fold it in like this. You fold it in like this and then you iron it as well. You fold it in, then you iron it. You can see I've ironed it now. So you iron it very well. Make sure that it's relaxed. You iron it very well. You iron it very well. So you make sure that you give it a nice ironing. So like this. Can you see now? Then you fold the other end of the stay. Make sure you do not fold the stay together, but you fold the other end of the stay like this, and then you also iron it to give it a nice shape. So you also iron it to give it a very nice shape like this. Make sure you iron it very well. So can you see now? Can you see now? So can you see? So you can see that it's already giving us that cap shape. So the next thing is that we are going to stitch that edge. So we are going to stitch it like this. You stitch this edge. Make sure you give it a kind of nice stitching. So can you see now? So I've stitched the edge. So can you see? So we are still going to iron it again. So I've stitched that edge. So we are going to iron it. Now after ironing, our cap is almost ready. So you see what we have. So we are going to cut out the lining. So I'm using a suit lining. You can use your normal lining, but I'm using a suit lining. So we go to the machine now so you can see. So I'm sewing the lining at the edge. The down part where we measure 1 inch is the other time. So the down part is where I'm sewing. So make sure you sew it carefully as the lower edge where we measure 1 inch allowance. So you can see. So you can see now. So you make sure that you give it a careful stitching. So now I'm done stitching. So after stitching it, you fold it into two, and then you measure. Like I said, the edge circumference is 22. So 22 divided by 2 is 11. Remember, I fold it into two now. I fold it into two, and I've measured 11 inches to give us 22 inches the edge circumference. So you stitch one part. So you stitch it. Make sure you give it a kind of straight stitching. So you stitch it down. I'm stitching the fabric first. I'm stitching the fabric first. So you can see. Then you start from the other side as well. So you stitch the lining. So you stitch the lining. So make sure that you slant your hand a bit out so that the lining will be a little bit wider than the normal fabric. And you see that I'm slanting my hand a bit. So now you are going to open it and press it. Iron it like this. So you're going to make sure. So you're going to iron this place. Now I'm done ironing. So can you see? I've ironed it open. So we are going to turn it in now. Can you see? I've turned it out. You can see. You can see. So can you see now? You can see how perfect the other end is. You can see. So you can just press this side. Make sure that you press it. You get. So I've turned it to the other side. So can you see? And I've pressed it now. So you can see. You can see very well. You can see how relaxing it is. So you can see the inner part as well. So if you like, you can stop stitch it. So like this now, I want to stitch the edge round. I will be stitching the edge round, just like half inches. So I want to stitch the edges round like half inches. You can see. So you can see that I'm stitching it round at half inch. At half inch. So can you see now? But this is optional. You can just leave it like that without stitching it round. It's optional. So you can see now. So next thing now is that you can see we have excess lining. So we are going to cut it out. Cut out the excess lining that we have, and then you just stitch it at the upper part. You stitch it at the edge, so that the lining and the main fabric can be together to avoid the lining from shifting inward and outward. So just stitch it at the edge. You can see, you just stitch it round. You do a kind of round stitching. So can you see what we have now? So you can see, now the next thing is the cover. The next thing now is the cover. So this is the remaining fabric. I want to cut it open. So I'm cutting the remaining fabric open. So after cutting this open, you put it together like this. Then you use the main thing that you've made, you use it to measure. Can you see that what I cut out is a bit bigger than the main cap, but we still need some spaces. So we still need some spaces at the side. So if you have any other uh, fabric, you can also add it to it. You can see the little one I cut out the other time. So you join everything together. So you join everything together, you stitch them together and top stitch like this. So you top stitch like this. So this is where the main work is when it comes to cap sewing. So this is what we have now. So now you can see that we have enough space. We have enough allowance at every side. We have enough allowance at every side. So now we have enough space at every side now. So the next thing is that we'll be taking our lining as well. So can you see I've put the lining, and I'm going, now you can see that I've sewn the lining round now. So the next thing is that I will be placing the cap. So make sure that the wrong side is not facing the wrong side. So this is the right side and this is the wrong side of the cap. So the wrong side will be facing the right side. So the wrong side will be facing the right side. You can see now. So you make sure that you place it right. So you can see. So first I will be cutting out the excesses that we have. I'll be cutting out the excesses to give it a very nice edge. You get now. To give it a very nice edge. So we turn it back. Now this is where the main business is. So can you see that I've cut the what I did there now is that I cut the cover, I cut it around, and I give it a kind of allowance. Make sure that it's a bit bigger than the main cap, maybe by 1 inch round. So now I will be sewing it around. So you place one edge. Can you see how I place it? Let me show it again. Can you see how I place it? Can you see now? So you place the edge on each other, then you sew it around. You can see. So you carefully place the edge. Can you see? So you sew it around. You don't need to rush. You don't need to rush it here. So see how I'm placing it. Can you see how I'm placing it? So you sew it round, and you carefully sew it round. So you don't need to rush. So see how I'm placing it gently. You can see. So you make sure that everything relax. So here is the main business in sewing our cap. So you have to patiently lay it on each other. You can see. You can see. You can see. So we sew it down. Make sure that there is small space in the cover. Make sure that the cover has more space than the main cap. Maybe like 1 inches bigger. 1 inch circumference bigger than the main cap. So you just sew it round. So you can see. Excuse me. So you can see now. You can see. Now at the other side here, if it's possible that it looks like the cover is bigger than the cap, so you lose it backward until everything align. So you lose it backward. You lose it backward if it looks like the cover is having more allowance than the main cap, so you lose it backward until everything later align. You see how I will be losing it backward until it align. So I'm sewing it now. So you lay it, make sure that it lays very well. So can you see it still have more excesses, so you still lose it backward. That's where I started. So you lose it backward. I'm using my scissors to lose it, so you lose it backward, but you have to be careful. And at times you might be lucky that everything will just align at once. So you can see, that, you can see that. So little by little, the excesses will be disappearing. Don't mind that small hand. So you can see now. So it remains small for it to align, for everything to align. So you still lose it backward. So kindly subscribe if you've not subscribed to this channel, so that anytime I drop more videos, you'll be able to receive them. You'll be the first person to receive. This is ideal clothing. So you can see how I'm sewing it now. Now it's becoming more aligning. So that's why I said this is where the main business is. This is where the main business is. And at times you might be lucky. So I think I put more allowance in the cover than the cap. So the allowance is too much. That's why I'm having kind of excess. So, but everything will still align. So you sew it around. like this. You sew it around like this again. Today, so this side you need to be careful, you need to be patient, no rushing. So I still lose it a bit backward. So, but to avoid this kind of stress, you can just leave like 1 inch. Can give it like 1 inch difference. What so you can see. Can you see now? I still have to lose it back a bit. This place is always a kind of stressing sometimes. But to avoid this, you can just give it a kind of 1 inch allowance around. I mean, let the cover be bigger than the main cap by 1 inch circumference, 1 inch round. I think this one is like 2 inches wider than the main cap. So I have to just cut it backward. You can see. Now is about to align. Just remain small. Just need to cut it open small. I mean a bit. So can you see now? That's is about to align. It's about to align. Just remain like small. So can you see that the excess is in that cover is already coming out? The excesses in the cover is already coming out. So make sure that everything lay very well and it's aligned. So I think last everything has aligned now. Can you see? So everything has aligned. Yeah, we are done. So you can see the excess that we have on the other side. So you can see the excesses that we have. And see that we have too much excess. So you can just measure. So first turn it in and make sure that all the places that you sewn, you are not having any opening. So I've turned it in. You're still going to cut out the excesses, but first make sure that you do not have any opening. Can you see? Make sure you do not have any opening. So can you see now? Just have to make sure that there is no opening. So then you turn it back in to cut out the excesses. So now turn it back in to cut out the excesses. You can see. So let's just cut out the excess that we have. So cut out the excesses. You can see that we have too much excess. We can just give an allowance of like 1 inch around. So while you are cutting, you have to be careful you not cut the stitches, because that's going to be another issue entirely. I will still be dropping another video on how to still make this cap again. I will still be dropping another video very soon. One more time, if you are here to subscribe to my channel, kindly do so. This is Ideal Clothing. So you cut out the excesses. kindly subscribe and put on the notification bell. So you can see now. Then the next thing is that you can weave it around. So you can just do the weaving, like you use an interlocking machine to weave it around, you know, to make it more decent. Then you turn it out and you give it a thorough ironing. Give it a thorough ironing. So make sure you turn it out. All those edges, make sure that you bring them out very well and you iron it. You iron the edges very well. So can you see? So I'm going to be ironing it now. We iron the edges. So can you see? So now we are going to be putting design. The owner asked for design. So this is the design. It's called Isheolowo. This one is not our normal embroidery. So Isheolowo Lili. So this is called Isheolowo. So this is what we have. So thanks for watching. You can see now. Thanks for watching. This is ID Clothing. See you now.